Hi, scholars. Today's read aloud is called How People Learned to Fly. It's written by Fran Hodgkins and illustrated by True Kelly. I wanted to share this book with you because this is an informative book, but it's told in a story and in a picture book. So I thought it might be interesting for us to learn about how people learn to fly, but in a story. How People Learned to Fly. Honk, 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 honk. When you see a bird flying, do you dream about flying too? Do you run with your arms out? Imagining that you're soaring among the clouds. Do you make paper airplanes? Do you fly kites? If you do, you aren't alone. For thousands of years, people have dreamed about being able to fly. They watched birds and bats soar. They imagined people and other animals that could fly and told stories about them. Pegasus, Icarus. They designed machines that they thought would be able to fly. They had many ideas. As they tried each new idea, they learned a lot. They learned about gravity. Gravity is the force that keeps everything on Earth's surface. Because of gravity, things have weight. If there were no gravity, people, dogs, cats, and everything else would go floating off into space. Gravity keeps us on the ground, even if we'd rather be flying. Gravite, gravity. People also learned about air. Air is made of tiny particles called molecules. When you walk or run, you push through air molecules. They push back on you too, even though you don't usually feel the push unless the wind blows. The kite's tail and string keep the kite at the right angle to the wind. The wind moves over the kite and lifts it up. People learned that the wind could push a kite into the sky. When air molecules push back on a moving object, that is a force called drag. You can feel drag for yourself. Hold out your arms. Now spin around. Feel the push of air on your arms and hands. That's drag. Like gravity, drag works against objects that are trying to fly. Kites were useful and fun, but people wanted more. They wanted to fly like birds. Birds had something that kites didn't. Birds had wings. People made wings and strapped them to their arms. They flapped their arms, but they couldn't fly. In England, monk Elmer broke his legs in AD 1010 after a 15-second flight. They built gliders, light aircrafts with wings. Some didn't work, but some did. Wing shapes. Bird, dragonfly, glider, airplane. The gliders that worked best had special wings. These wings were arched on both the top and the bottom. The air pulled the wings from above and pushed the wings from below. When the wings went up, so did the glider. Arched wings helped create a force called lift. Lift is the force that keeps birds and gliders in the air. See, lift. Here's the flight direction. Airflow. Here's the wing. So you can see that on the top, it's pushing. The airflow is coming across the wing on the top this way and across the bottom this way. An engine is the answer. The propeller, thrust. Engine turns propeller. See how the propeller is moving? It tucks back into plane for gliding. These are bicycle chains to propellers, and a radiator line, and a fuel line. The Wright brothers' aircraft engine. An engine is a machine that changes energy into movement. The forward movement that an airplane needs to fly is called thrust. More thrust makes an airplane move forward faster. Moving faster creates more lift. And with more lift, an airplane can carry more weight. So an aircraft with an engine can carry passengers or cargo. Today, thousands and thousands of people travel in airplanes every day. People really have learned to fly. Find out more about flying. Here's a couple of flying facts. Orville and Wilbur Wright were the first men to build and fly an airplane successfully. In 1903, their Wright Flyer rose to the air at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Charles Lindbergh was the first person to fly solo, nonstop across the Atlantic Ocean. So he went all the way across the ocean, all by himself in a plane. And in 1927, he flew from New York to Paris. His plane was called the Spirit of St. Louis. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. In 1928, she was one of the 3-person crew that made the flight. She became the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic in 1932. The world record for the longest hand-launched airplane, paper airplane flight is held by Ken Blackburn. In 1998, his paper airplane flew for 27.6 seconds in the Georgia Dome. And here, there is some information on how you can learn to make your very own paper airplane. You start with a piece of paper and you fold it in half the long way. Then you can fold the corners down on the top. Then you can fold another part down, and you're going to take it back, and then you can fold the tops into wings, and there you have a paper airplane. I hope you enjoyed learning more about how people learn to fly.